Hey guys, how's it going? Winter Kills here, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're doing a test hand video for Mermails, right? I know it's been quite a little while since I've done anything with Mermail, and mainly because I've been focusing on other decks like Earth Machine, Photon Galaxy. But you know, of course, I still have the deck, still love the deck, and haven't really done much. I don't think since maybe like January is when I think I did the deck guide for this. Yeah, so it's been a little while, but today I figured, you know, we'd just sit down and do some good old test hands like I've done in the past. The build really hasn't changed much at all, probably since my last profile. However, I did actually add in Pot of Prosperity, so I will be playing that in this video. And I cut the 2 Pot of Avarice and Upstart that I was playing, and I also added in Prosperities and 2 copies of Deep Sea Aria. I know there's some new support coming out, in quotes support. It's kind of like indirect support. It's not like Mermail or Atlantean cards. I know there's a trap that's coming out that lets you banish it from the grave to add any water monster, I think, from your deck to hand. So basically you can just search Teus. So I probably will experiment with that card when it comes out, but it's something like super groundbreaking. I don't feel like for the deck overall. I mean, you'll still be able to search Teus, but you'll still just be ending on the same combos the deck has pretty much always ended on. Now my build is still a little bit different than most people's builds. I'm not running Dragoon, I'm not running Red Eyes Fusion, so I won't be ending on boards with that. My build is a bit more Synchro heavy, a bit more Xyz heavy, I guess. A little different still on the field spell because I still think this card is pretty good, still underrated. And yeah, so that's what I just want to update you guys on. This is what the build is looking like. It's a little bit, you know, different than the last time, but you know, really overall on the grand scheme of things, our combos are still kind of the same. Everything's still kind of the same. I actually did a test hand right before I started recording, and I ended on Fiber, Dragite, Alacia, and Toad with like 3 cards in hand. So not a bad end board for this deck at all. And before we get into the profile, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist, makers of some fine TCG accessories such as sleeves, stack boxes, dice, binders, playmats like the one I'm using here, and much more. Check them out at the link below, and don't forget to use my discount code WinterKills10 off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, don't forget to use the affiliate link. I have them down in the description below of all my videos. You guys shop and check out using that link. A small bit of the revenue from your purchase will go right back in the channel. Helps out a ton. And if you want to get access to early videos, behind the scenes content, and more, consider becoming a member of the channel today. And yeah, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our first test hand of the video for Mermails in June 2021. Alright, enough shuffling there. Let's go ahead and draw into our first test hand, and my first test hand with this deck in quite some time, so forgive me if I am rusty. We open up Prince, Ronin, another Prince, a Deep Sea Minstrel, and our 5th and final card is a copy of Megalo. Alright, this is an okay hand. I think the way I'm going to start this is just by using Minstrel immediately. To go ahead and take 1 card out of their hand, and we also get, of course, a look at their entire hand, make sure we see any hand traps. We want to pull out a Nibiru, an Imperm, an Ash, whatever it may be. We want to get those threats out of the way, so we can normal summon a Prince. We'll activate Prince's effect here, the classic, send Dragoons to add Dragoons, and this time we're not going to add Megalo. But what else do I want to add? We already have Megalo in hand, so we get a sort of essentially like a free search here since we opened up this one of. We could add Lapis Dragon, summon that, use it to make Anemone. Anemone can bring this back, potentially use its effect, or we can just use it for Synchro Material. Let's add Lapis Dragon. I think I actually am going to add Lapis Dragon here because it's basically just a free body at this point. We'll add it, and it'll get summoned to the board. So like I said, yeah, we could either make like a Helka Fibrax here, we could make an Anemone, or we could just, you know, make Starboy or an Alacia. But I think I kind of want to experiment with some other play lines, because we can make Prima Donna, and we don't have the field spell with this hand, unfortunately. But I guess it would really depend on what type of situation we're in. If we're playing a deck that is running a ton of hand traps, and if they saw any, you know, did we need to hit a high impact card out of their hand? If we did, you know, it'll change the way we want to do this, but if we didn't, you know, we can do a lot more because we'll essentially be giving them that card back off of the Prima Donna. So here, let's go ahead and actually synchro, or not synchro rather, let's go ahead and link those two into a copy of Anemone. Anemone will activate its effect to bring back the Deep Sea Minstrel. We'll activate Minstrel's effect and we mill the top 3, I believe. It's been a little while. Yeah, we send the top 3 cards of our deck to the graveyard, then target level 4 or lower water monster in our grave, except itself, placed on the top or bottom of the deck. So yeah, we'll go ahead and mill 3. We'll mill a Marksman, a Terraforming, and a Deep Sea Aria. So we can go ahead and recycle 1 back into the deck. I kind of want to put back the Marksman, if I'm being totally honest, because it doesn't really need to be in our graveyard right now. They have a Prince in there. Ronin Totem could actually be pretty helpful. So let's actually just put back, let's put back the Marksman. I'm down with putting back the Marksman. So from now, we're going to go ahead and summon the Megalo, discarding the Dragoons and the Prince. We'll go Chain Links as follow. Chain Link 1 Prince, Chain Link 2 Dragoons, Chain Link 3 Megalo. Prince will target Dragoons. Or, yeah, Prince will target Dragoons. I realized if we could have left the Marksman there, we could have brought that back potentially to synchro with the Minstrel, but I don't think I'm running any level 6s, so wouldn't have came up. So we'll add the Mizuchi. Then our other Sea Serpent that we get to add here, there's really not many that we can add in terms of extenders, so we can just add sort of like a follow-up card. So we'll add the Deep Sea Diva, or we could add Infantry here if we really wanted to play it safe as like an additional interruption. So yeah, let's add the Infantry actually. We'll add Infantry, and then this will get summoned back to the field. And now what we can do here is either synchro these two into Prima Donna, or we can link these two into a copy of Halqifibrax. Halqifibrax will summon Fishborg Launcher. We can make Dragite with the Megalo and the Launcher. And then we can link the Dragoons and the Launcher we bring back for Alacia, equip it with this, and have this in hand. But I'm trying to think if we can do any other cool plays on top of that. Because again, our opponent does have 1 card banished right now, and it is the card we hit off Minstrel. So we could potentially synchro these two into Prima Donna. And we could use Prima Donna to bring back or put back that card that is banished back into their hand. And then we can summon a level 4 lower water monster from the deck. So let's go ahead and do that. We already have a Ronin in grave, actually, which is kind of clutch. So we'll summon Toad from the deck, and then we'll use Toad to send a swap to the grave. So now we can actually have access to Totally Awesome. And unfortunately, we did have to give them a card back. It's really not such a huge deal. But I think we might be able to take advantage. Yeah, so we can take advantage of Prima Donna's other effect here. It says, if this card is sent to the graveyard, we can try to banish card, shuffle it into the deck. So we could potentially recycle one of our own banished cards. So we could banish Ronin for swap. And then we can go ahead and overlay these into Totally Awesome, just so we have some form of negation before we go any further into our combo. Then we can link these into a copy of Halqifibrax. We can actually chain block our Halqifibrax here by going Prima Donna 2, Halqifibrax 1. The Ronin will get shuffled back into the deck. And then we can go ahead and summon out the Fishborg Launcher. And then we can synchro the Fishborg Launcher and the Megalo for a copy of the Dragite, just like that. And then we could bring back the Launcher if we really wanted to, and maybe link these two for the Star Boy, but that's really not going to do us much good. So I guess if we were going to go that route, we would have searched like a Diva off of that last Dragoon search that we had. But if we were going to go the other route, we would have wanted to add the Infantry. So yeah, we had 2 options there. This ended in Toad Dragite. The other would have ended in, I believe, Alacia with the Mizuchi, with an Infantry, with a Dragite. So I think this board is technically better. We do have the ability still to banish the Hulk to go ahead and summon that formula that we're still running. So that will draw us a card during their turn. And then we can also still synchro up into a Satellite Warrior to pop 3 on their turn as well. And of course, we still have that Omni Negate, which will recycle any of our cards in the grave back to our hand if we need it. Yeah, pretty successful and solid test hand there. I'm a little rusty, so if I miss some combos that might be obvious to you guys, again, they might not be obvious to me because it's been months since I've played this deck. I realize the deck list isn't that different. There might not be any crazy new text, but I figured it'd be nice to kind of revisit Mermail since we haven't, really done any Mermail content in a while. And I really don't have any other types of videos to upload at the moment because of locals being on kind of hiatus for a few more weeks. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this video, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. It helps out the channel a ton. But let's go ahead and shuffle the deck up and do another test hand. All right, shuffling is completed. Let's cut the deck as always and draw into another test hand. We pick up a copy of Dragoons, Fishborg Launcher, Pike, Megalo, and Terraforming. This hand is looking a little weird, but we can definitely make do. And the first thing I'm going to start with, obviously Droll, wrecks this hand regardless. Whether we start with the Terraforming first or we start with the Megalo, we're going to get hurt by Droll quite a bit. I think obviously not starting the Terraforming would probably be better. So I think we will not start with it. And instead, we will start by special summoning Megalo by discarding these 2 waters. We'll go Chainlink 1 Dragoons, Chainlink 2 Megalo. And that way, if we get Drolled here, it's not such a huge issue because we still get access to Diva. But, it's still, Droll is Droll at the end of the day, and it's going to hurt regardless. Now we can still do some pretty cool shenanigans here. We're going to go ahead and activate Terraforming. We're going to add Megalanica, the Deep Sea City. And, also, yeah, that's right. There's a level 5, Deep Sea Synchro coming out, too. It's like Deep Sea something. It starts with an R. I can't remember it exactly. That card I will definitely be considering playing in here whenever it comes out. I would ideally be able to get a lot of these videos out with these new cards early for you guys, but a lot of times I find I have a much better time coming up with combos and ideas and stuff for for decks with new cards when I actually have the physical cards. It's because I've been so busy. It's like trying to come up with all these other new combos and plays with cards I've never used before in this deck. It just takes a lot of time and effort. But yeah. So what we're gonna do now, we got our cards here. We're gonna go ahead and actually normal summon Deep Sea Diva. Big surprise there. Diva, of course, is going to summon out the Prince. We'll use Prince here to send Dragoons, add Dragoons Minstrel, importantly, because we don't need that Megalo in hand at the time. So yeah, we'll add those 2, and then we're gonna pitch these to search. We're gonna take a card out of their hand, of course, and Minstrel is going to add, let's go for a copy of Lapis Dragon. Lapis Dragon will hit the board. So at this point, we are under Nibiru right now. Well, we're under those 4 summons, so if they did have a Nibiru, it's gone, it's out of their hand. We don't need to worry about it. And I also wonder if we'll ever draw Pot of Extravagance this game too. That'd be interesting to find out. So we can link off now. I kind of want to leave the Lapis Dragon here because we can use that to get access to Helka Fibrax, but we already have Fishborg Launcher engraved, so we technically don't need it. We could also link off the Diva because we don't need that either. Definitely want to keep the Megalo on board. That is not getting linked off. Let's link off the Prince, and let's also go for, I don't think it really makes too big of a difference here. Let's link off the Diva. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and summon Anemone, just like that. And we're also going to go ahead and activate our Megalanica Deep Sea City, and we're going to use that to stack a card to the top of our deck. We cannot stack Dragoons, but what we can stack is a copy of Prince to the top, because that will come in handy to mill off of the Minstrel. So we're going to activate Anemone. It's going to target the Minstrel. We'll revive Minstrel from the grave, and that is going to go ahead and mill one of them being the Prince. 2 Princes, okay. So we'll activate Prince here. After we put one back, we're going to put back a Dragoon since we don't need all 3 on the top of the deck. And I'm going to put this one to the top here, and then Prince is going to summon out a Dragoons just like that. And now from here, we can go ahead and synchro these two into the Prima Donna. And Prima Donna, since that was synchro summoned while Megallanica is up, we're going to banish another card face up out of their hand. And let's say we already hit a high impact card, and we just hit another low impact card. So we're going to use Prima Donna to put back that low impact card to their hand. And it's going to allow us to summon a level 4 or lower water monster from our deck. Now we can bring out Artisan here. Yeah, we're going to bring out Artisan, and we're going to activate Artisan's effect since we have another Dragoon's Engrave. And I have to remind myself what exactly this card does. Send the top card of our deck to the graveyard, then target level 4 or lower water monster in our graveyard, except itself, summon it, but negates effects. So yeah, if we could have kept the card we just stacked, that would be really good, but we did have to shuffle our deck there, unfortunately. I don't know if there's any other way around that, but we mill the top card, it's a swap, and we go ahead and get to summon a Dragoons out of the grave. No point in summoning the swap there because its effects would be negated. I guess technically we could have summoned the swap because I think returning swap to hand is cost, and the effect is additional normal summon of a frog monster, but maybe we could have done that there, but I'm just going to stick with the normal game plan at this point, and that is going to be to synchro these into a level 9 known as the Ravenous Crocodragon Archethys. We're going to use its effect to draw 1, and we draw a swap. That's actually turning out really, really strong. Then we can synchro these into a Dragite that also cannot be targeted by monster effects here, which is kind of clean if you ask me. Then we can go ahead and summon this bad boy to the field, ditching this Pike, and we'll use that to send a copy of Ronin. And we already have a swap Engrave, which is huge. And also, one other important thing to note, when we linked off or synchroed off the Prima Donna, we used its effect to put back that last high impact card they had banished back into their deck, so they do not get it back to their hand in the end phase. But we're going to banish Ronin for swap, and we're going to go ahead and overlay these two right here. Ideally, we'd probably put it somewhere in a zone where Anima can't steal it, but oh well. Yeah, bad zone placement on my part, I guess. But yeah, we'll summon the Toad, and then we can link these two off. Actually, what we're going to need to do is kind of climb first, and we're going to need to summon the Fishborg like this. We could make another level 8 synchro here, but we're locked into water, so there's not really too many that come to mind. We're going to put that there because that gets banished. We're going to go for Mastar Boy, and then we're going to link the Mastar Boy and the Megalo into the Alacia, just like that. Kind of use the Mastar Boy as a stepping stone to get to Alacia, since we can't use the Cyburst to make it. Then we can equip it with the Mizuchi, and unfortunately we have no cards in hand to be able to use Crocodragon, which is a bit unfortunate. Yeah, there's really not much we can do about that, unless I was forgetting a card to put back to my hand or something, but yeah, that is the end board. And I guess technically looking back, we could have done some shenanigans with the level manipulation of Megallanica. So instead of like synchroing the Minstrel and the Dragoons that we had, we could have just used Megallanica to make the Minstrel level 4, make Bahamut there, detaching the Dragoons, summoning a Toad, getting a Surge. So I guess that's a route we could have taken. Tons of routes probably here. You guys can let me know in the comments if you found other cool routes that we could have done with that given hand. But yeah, again, a little rusty, but let's go ahead and reset the deck and do another test hand. All right, deck is shuffled. Let's go ahead and cut the deck and draw into another test hand here. Now, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that there were some new sort of like water support cards that got announced. I was going to make a discussion video after somebody in the comments suggested I do so. Let me know if that's something you guys want to see. You know, me giving my thoughts and opinions on the new sort of water support cards that are going to be released. I don't know when exactly, but be cool to actually take a look at those and see if there'll be any use in this deck. But looking at our opening hand here, we have double swap, Pike, Terraforming, and Prince. This hand is okay. I think I'm going to start the safe way by special summoning swap, pitching swap, and then we'll attempt swap effect on summon to go ahead and dump a Ronin to the grave. And this will just kind of like hand trap proof like the first part of our play here. So we'll dump a Ronin, banish the Ronin for swap, and then we're going to go ahead and Xyz into a copy of Totally Awesome, and I'll make sure I do not put it in a zone where it can get sucked up by Anima. Now we'll normal summon the Prince, the German one to be exact, and we're going to go ahead and send Dragoons to add Dragoons. And we can add Minstrel here too. Only wish we didn't normal summon yet, because we could have gotten like Diva here, but I don't think there was much of a different way we could have played this. Send Dragoons to add Dragoons off of the Prince, and then Prince can add us, Dragoons can add us a Megalo, and then that can add us a Lapis Dragon. I think I actually am gonna, since we opened the terraforming again, I think I'm actually gonna grab Minstrel here. As much as it might seem weird to do so, we're gonna go Minstrel. We'll take a look at their hand, we'll banish a card, we'll get a search off of the Dragoons, and we're gonna add Lapis Dragon, our best searchable little Sea Serpent extender here. I don't even need to shuffle. Keep doing that. It's a bad habit. I apologize for these videos. I shuffle when I don't need to. But yeah, now we're activate terraforming. In terraforming, we'll grab the Megalanica. And look at that. All three prosperities stuck together like that. Would you look at that? No wonder I'm not opening them, even though I'm pile shuffling in between each hand. So we'll add Megalanica here. Then we'll go ahead and play Megalanica, since it doesn't really matter what order we do it at this moment. And we can use it to stack a Prince to get access to a revival type effect. So we'll do that. And then we'll link these into a Anemone. Anemone is going to target Minstrel. Minstrel effect on summon will activate, milling 1, 2, and 3. We'll use the Minstrel to put back a Dragoons to the top, and then we'll summon out the Dragoons off of the Prince. So here we could go into... Well, first things first, we could use Megalanica to target Minstrel to make Dweller, because that'll make its level 4. Or we could use this to make it a level 6 to go ahead and synchro into Crocosaur. Crocosaur will draw us into that Dragoons, which isn't going to help us out too much right now. Or we could synchro into Prima Donna, which I think is the route that I'm actually going to go for. And then we're going to use the field spell to banish again another card out of their hand since we synchro summoned. And then we're going to use Prima Donna to put back that card and then summon a level 4 lower water from the deck. We already have access to Totally Awesome, so we're kind of chilling there. We could summon... What else could we summon at this point? I got a perfect idea. Let's go ahead and summon Deep Sea Artisan. Deep Sea Artisan is going to be a perfect card to summon here. Then I'll just cut the deck since we are going to be milling a card off the top. We'll mill a Deep Sea Aria, and we're going to use this to revive a tuner. Importantly, we're going to revive Deep Sea Minstrel. Effects are negated. We don't really care, though. Then we're going to synchro these into a copy of a copy of Dragite. Dragite also cannot be targeted by monster effects now. We're going to put back that banished card that we took out of their hand. And then we're going to link these two, last but not least, into a copy of Halqifibrax. And we could use Halqifibrax effect here, and we might as well. We'll just go ahead and summon out a Fishborg Launcher from the deck, just to have it out of the deck, right? We don't want to worry about drawing that card potentially next turn anyways. So this is a 1, 2, 3 interruption board. The other interruption, the third one, is hidden at this point, because obviously during their turn we can banish the Halq as part of its effect to summon out a formula. That'll draw us a card. And then we synchro into the Satellite Warrior for a 3 pops in total right there, because we do have 3 synchros in grave. And if we destroy 3 cards, it goes up to 5,500 attack. So we can close out game very easily next turn if our opponent does not have an answer to it. But yeah, let's go ahead and shuffle the deck up and do one more test hand for this video. Alright, deck has been shuffled. Let's go ahead and draw into our final test hand of the video, and hopefully it is a good one. We draw Lapis Dragon, Artisan, Swap Frog, Deep Sea Diva, and Prince. So it was looking very, very grim to start, but the hand has turned itself around quite a bit. I think with this particular hand... as much as I am scared of the idea of just starting by normal summoning Diva, I think that is what we have to do. I mean, we could swap summon itself by ditching the Artisan, send a swap, bounce it back, summon himself again by pitching Lapis, sending Ronin, making a Toad, then normal summoning. I guess there's the only reason we don't need to, because like, or we don't have to worry about, like, it's not a terrible idea because we don't need these 2 cards right now. Like, these cards aren't helping us at all, really. So using them as discard fodder to assure that they go, like, this card goes through, I think is okay. Because we'll still have an extra water in hand. So yeah, I'm actually, as much as I don't want to do it, just seems so bad to start with it. I think that's like the safest play. Yeah, because it also make our board Nibiru proof. So why not go ahead and do it? This deck gets wrecked by Nibiru, it gets wrecked by Ash. So let's just go ahead and proof it from those cards. So that's our second summon. And we're going to have our third summon be the other swap, and then the fourth summon being Toad. So we'll send this, and then this will get summoned by banishing this. And one of the joys of playing the swap engine in the deck is, you know, that's just like, if you draw multiple swaps together, it's just a free Toad. They're just great generic water extenders. That's really all there is to it. There was a better engine, I'd play it, but right now there really is no better engine in my opinion. So we're going to normal summon Diva. Diva's going to summon, not infantry. I was thinking about maybe going for the infantry, but let's play it a little more safe here. We'll summon Diva, or not Diva, summon Prince. Prince will send a Dragoons to add Dragoons. And let's add Megalo here, since we do not have field spell access. There's no point in going for the Minstrel. Arguably, we could still go for Minstrel for more protection from hand traps, but we've already established a Toad, and if they've burned any Ash or any hand traps on this card, then, you know, it's already done the job we wanted it to do, which is to bait out and be able to negate hand traps. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and summon Megalo by pitching these 2, and we're going to go Chainlink 1 Prince, Chainlink 2 Dragoons, Chainlink 3 Megalo, and we'll resolve it backwards, of course. We're going to add a, where is it? Copy of Mizuchi. Still haven't drawn Prosperity this entire test hand video, which is hilarious. Now we do get a search here off of our Dragoons. Our Lavish Dragon's out of the deck. There's no real reason to grab that. I'm going to grab Infantry here because I think we're going to need it / want it for an Alacia discard. Because if we can set up a Helk with an Alacia here, I think, and a Dragite, we're in a really good position. Because we did not draw the Fishborg Launcher, which is nice. So we're going to synchro those two. Not synchro, rather. I mean, we could technically use synchro, but we're not going to. We're going to go into Helk. Helk is going to summon a Fishborg Launcher from the deck. And where is Fishborg Launcher? If Helk ever bites the dust, which Helk has been not on the radar pretty much at all in the past several months. Just because, like, a lot of decks that would turbo Helk right now, I think, get very, very punished by hand traps. So, like, I don't know. Helk is helping out rogue decks right now way more than it is helping out meta decks, which is a very strange thing to say, because for the longest time, this card just seemed like the end of the world, and it is far from that right now. So the longer this deck gets to hold on to a card like Helk, the better. Not to say that I can't play without it, but it definitely helps out a ton. So yeah, right now, let's go ahead and synchro these two into a Dragite. And let's see here. We're not going to be able to make... So I guess at this point, we could summon Fishborg Launcher and actually link the Helk off with the Fishborg Launcher for Anemone. And then we can actually use Anemone here to revive Artisan. And Artisan's effect can activate milling 1, and we mill a Prince here. And then we can revive a level 4 or lower from the grave. So let's go ahead and revive Dragoons. Then we can link the Dragoons and the Artisan for a copy of Alacia. And just like that, we can equip our Mizuchi to it with Infantry in hand. So this is a really good board. The only thing this board, I think, loses to outright would be a Super Poly. Or a Raw Sphere mode would do a very good job at dismantling this board. But either way, this can negate Dark Ruler, it can negate Lightning Storm, it can negate Forbidden Droplet. This card is so incredibly strong. We have a Monster Pop plus a search off of our Alacia, Spell Negate here, or Spell Trap Negate here, rather, and an Omni Negate. So yeah, looking like a very solid board, and of course, if Toad goes, we get a card back in the process. So great board there to end it on. I wanted to leave the Hulk just because, you know, we could go for Formula plus Satellite Warrior, but figured why not extend a little further to be able to get access to the Atlantean to make these 2 cards in our hand, you know, useful during our opponent's next turn. So that is going to wrap it up for this test hand video. Wanted to break out the max rarity Mermail deck one more time. You know, I probably will do a deck profile again some point in the future. I mean, it's pretty much the same as it was in the past. Again, the only difference is the prosperities are in the main deck right now, and 2 copies of Deep Sea Aria. Outside of that, extra deck is completely the same. I don't think it needs to change, as evident by this video, how consistently we were able to make our boards of like Toad, Dragite, Alacia, or Toad, Dragite, Hulk with the draw and pop 2 or 3, ripping multiple cards out of the opponent's hands, and sometimes shuffling them back into the deck. I realize there's probably a lot of things you could do with like Hulk Auroradon combos and, you know, playing Red Eyes Dark Dragoon and Anaconda. I'm just not a huge fan of adding so many Garnets to the deck. Like, you know, Red Eyes Fusion, well, Red Eyes Fusion is not a Garnet, essentially, but, you know, Dark Magician Red Eyes, adding in, you know, a Despot 1 and Colt Wing and all these other things that you potentially add to make this deck a Hulk Turbo deck, which I don't want it to be, and I don't think it needs to be. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Leave a like if you did. Again, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to enter that giveaway. There's probably still a few days left on it. There'll be a link to the description for you guys to enter to win a box of Lightning Overdrive. So don't forget to check that out. And yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate all the support. Hope you guys are having a good day. And as always, Mermail signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And I want to take this time to give a quick shout out to all of the YouTube members supporting this channel, and a special thanks, of course, goes to our Divine level channel members going above and beyond to support the channel, and they are Cadillacs, aka Cadillacs84, and Pony Stark. Thank you guys so much for your continued and very generous support of the channel.